Becoming the most expensive ever IPL auction purchase at the price of 24.75 crores meant that there was always going to be plenty of scrutiny on Mitchell Starc, who, lest we forget, would be making a comeback into the IPL after a period of nearly 9 years. However, it's safe to say that his form for the Kolkata Knight Riders has been less than ideal up until this point, despite the fact that the franchise are currently sitting in second, having won 5 out of their 7 games. More often than not, they've done so despite the efforts of their star bowler and not because of it. However, that being said, it does seem like that at least for the time being, the team management has not yet lost a lot of faith in Mitchell Starc. That is because of some interesting things that are being said about Starc from, of all people, Kolkata Knight Riders CEO Venki Mysore, who we know is a pretty powerful person within the organization and has in the past made some very ruthless calls when it came to dropping players, including the time when he decided that the franchise was done with Sourav Ganguly and that we need to move past the man who for many signified Kolkata. So to hear him actually back Starc was pretty interesting, and he does also make some valid points, although as we'll delve into later on, it's doubtful whether or not that'll be enough to quell the debate around the star Aussie bowler. The first thing that he talks about or looks at is in terms of the price tag, which is of course always going to be a starting point when you're discussing Mitchell Starc. Venki Mysore said that, look, when we look at the purchase of Starc, we don't think of it from an investment standpoint, because you go to the auction and things happen which is not in the hands of the player or anybody else. And truth be told, that's a valid point. It is not in the hands of the players what is the amount of money that's shelled out for them, because the auction dynamic is something that will more often than not, let's say, determine how much money is spent on what player. Usually all-rounders will go for big money. Also foreign pace bowlers, those who possess genuine pace, like that Starc does, are often always in big demand as well. And it's no coincidence that the second most expensive auction in not only the 2024 but in auction history is Starc's Australian teammate Pat Cummins, another one who fits the bill as far as being an express pacer is concerned. So it's definitely market dynamics. The demand for express pace bowlers very high. The number of actual express pace bowlers is very low, and therefore it explains why it is that the Starc and Cummins go for the kind of money they go for. And he also goes on to add further that sometimes it's not so much about what you're spending, more about what it is that the team needs from a particular player. In fact, as he pointed out, he said that we felt adding Starc would add a lot of value. His presence in the lineup adds a different dynamic, and there were specific skills the support staff were looking for. Now, it's pretty easy to see what it is, the skills that they were looking for. As far as the support staff were concerned, they were looking for someone who could lead the pace bowling lineup, someone who was an international caliber superstar of repute, and also someone who could bowl in multiple phases of the game. Starc has shown in the past that he's very good bowling up front, as well as in the death overs and even in the middle if the situation so calls for it. So Starc, in that sense, fit the bill for KKR, and the other advantage he had was that he gave them a left arm pace option, something that they sorely lacked, because if you look at the rest of their pacers, aside from a Chetan Sakaria, who, let's be fair, is miles off where a Mitchell Starc is, every other pacer is a right-hander, so they desperately needed Starc for that particular reason as well. Having said that, he also goes on to defend the kind of showings that Starc has had, which I think most fans will admit haven't exactly been up to the mark. He said that, look, everybody gets taken to the cleaners, and there are other times that they come in and win games for the team. So we're super happy having him in this setup. Now, to be fair to Starc, there have been times where he's done both. I mean, just look at the RCB game as an example. Not only did he end up getting hit to the cleaners, I mean, he was taken apart in every over he bowled, including the last one, which was decisive. But with 3 runs needed of 2 balls, he also ensured that the team ended up getting away and somehow scraping off a win at what seemed like an impossible situation. Even that aside, he has had a couple of good knocks with the ball. If you're looking at, he did well against the Delhi Capitals. He also had a match-winning showing against the Lucknow Super Giants. So it's not to say that Starc has been a complete miss, but the sad is that there's been more misses than they have been hits with Starc. And given that the IPL is now in the business end of the tournament, you've got 7 more games left, and every team is only looking towards how it is that they can make the playoffs. There are still going to be question marks over Starc, but as of now, it does seem like his position is not in any immediate danger. Whether the franchise retain him for next year, whether he makes himself available, that's something that remains to be seen. But it does seem like the KKR's Mitchell Starc experiment is going to be carrying on at least until he really ends up losing them again. Perhaps then, that's when things change. Me personally, I think maybe you can look to bench Starc for 1-2 more games, bring in a Dushmantha Chamira, try and maybe add something new to the pace bowling lineup. But whether that happens, we don't really know, because contrary to what it is that Venki Mysore says, the team will look at it as an investment and they want that their 24.7 crore man ends up succeeding and having a good IPL, therefore justifying the money that they spent on him. But what are your thoughts on the entire matter? Do you think he should be dropped? Do you think he should be back? Who would you bring in if not for Starc? Well, you can let us know all of that in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, tap that bell icon, follow us also on social media. We're on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook. Don't forget to download the SportsLink app, and if you're already on the channel, go ahead, check out some other videos we've done as well. For now, from my side though, it's goodbye.